Okay, so nutrient digestion. All right, so we need to talk about how, like, what's being digested. Okay, so basically we are digesting carbohydrate, proteins, and fats. All right, so carbohydrate digestion, chemical digestion, we're talking about, not mechanical. It starts in the mouth. The mouth produces salivary amylase. That's in your saliva. And the salivary amylase will break down carbohydrate in your mouth. Now, that doesn't mean it breaks it down to its smallest constituents. It just breaks it down into smaller, more manageable, large molecules. Okay. So once it gets to the stomach, do we have any amylase in the stomach? Do we have any carbohydrate digestion going on in the stomach chemically? No. So no carbohydrate digestion occurs in the stomach. So it doesn't continue until it gets to the small intestine. So once it gets to the small intestine, the small intestinal cells break, or the amylase that comes from the pancreatic juice that goes into the duodenum will break down the carbohydrates into disaccharides. So that's maltose, lactose, and sucrose. Maltose is broken down through maltase. Lactose is broken down from lactase. And sucrose is broken down with sucrase. Okay, so these are the enzymes that are coming from the pancreas. All right, so once we get down to disaccharides, the maltose, the lactose, and the sucrose, then there's an area, or the area of the wall of the small intestine, the plasma membrane, is called, well, it has special enzymes on it, and this thing is called the brush border. And once we get maltose, lactose, and sucrose, then we can break those down at the brush border into, these are disaccharides, so into monosaccharides. So glucose, fructose, and galactose. All right. Glucose and galactose will enter the small intestine cell, or enterocyte, through secondary active transport using sodium. Fructose can enter the enterocyte through facilitated diffusion. Okay, so we're going to go through that, but that's what the process that it goes through to get absorbed into the blood. Okay, proteins protein digestion, chemical protein digestion, what happens in the mouth? None. Okay, we don't have protein digestion in the mouth. Protein digestion or chemical digestion of proteins does not start until the stomach. And we get that from pepsin. And remember, pepsin is hydrochloric acid plus pepsinogen. So that's where it starts. Then it goes to the small intestine, and it will break down, and the pepsin breaks it down into just smaller peptides. Again, not the smallest constituents, just to smaller peptides. Then it goes into the small intestine, and it will break down the peptides into dipeptides, which is, okay, two peptides linked together, peptides, which is one strand, and individual amino acids. Okay, so either links of two peptides, one peptide, or amino acids. All right, they also enter the cell small intestine cells by secondary active transport. Okay. All right, fats require lipases. So a lipase is the enzyme that breaks down fatty acids. Okay, but we must have bile in order to do this. Bile emulsifies the fat. So bile is an emulsifier, and it basically makes it easier for a lipase to contact the fat. Okay, so we're going to go through each process: carbohydrate absorption, protein absorption, and lipid absorption.